easy way to perceive my scientific discovery, revolutionary on a whole organism level, the ZNLP, or my true neurolinguistics, Zebra's true neurolinguistics, by how thoroughly we're controlled by the ZNLP brain language programming, is that when somebody hits you up, you have to either respond or withhold a response. So it follows that we're either controlled by rigid patterning, repetitive, specific, and recursively self-sustaining and reinforcing, based on the development of situationally biased selectivity exposure through gating, or flexible, open to real-time adaptability. That's neuroflexibility and neurorigidity as it relates to general neuroplasticity. My elephant tusk is an exposition, a device in exposing this thoroughly. My true neurolinguistic programming, ZNLP, means that repetitive, specific language patterns control how human beings process information, neuroverbally and neuroimagistically, relate to the general environment, and communicate themselves, resulting in an actual neurosymbolism coding language, how the brain rewires changes on a moment-by-moment basis. And for instance, to make this clear that there's no brain software, like a file download from a website or a file sharing cloud, or a consciousness intaken by antenna from some oceanic spread, but brain hardware, mutable, less mutable, and unmutable hardware, obvious by the example that if you haven't heard or read the definition to the word mutable from some type of hardware device, meaning physical transfer from a computer screen, an encyclopedia of some kind, or somebody's mouth, for instance, then you wouldn't know it means changeable, to make it simply obvious. We both write and don't write the hardware, mutable, less mutable, and unmutable, due to exposure and motives, the degree of freeness inhibited and uninhibited on a situational basis, and the neutral ruthlessness of stimuli and sensations, both sensual and sensory, regardless of gating, all of which are factual. You have to respond to these circumstances with either physiological honesty or dishonesty, which result in open or closed adaptive attitudes towards adaptability. As a flip on the clinging of Ahorbas Viceta and the resistance of the font Alvitast, featuring the extra cameo grammatical terms God consciousness. More accurately, it's not so much at all about clinging and resistance like they mean it, but whether or not to communicate honestly, in real time, without manipulations by strategy. Reliance on schedule, as distinct from back brain time arcing, like motor clunking rather than motor purring, 100% requiring a certain degree of a charade and stress, resulting in the ticket box commentator seats. Buy the tickets, mount the ride. Over neurorigidity, symptomatic doom claps of too much first-hand motive exposure to the coin, as Dan, results in the condition of motor difficulty hearing the meanings by context, both linguistically and situationally, like a predetermining on-free association reflex, behaving like an overactive, blind watchmaker staunch, intellectual property Dan Courthouse, Dan Steeple, constantly filing Dan lawsuits for completely different applicable concepts and different rhythmic poetic applications, each possibly breaking Dan based on tonal syntax, tonal grammar for M&M instantaneities, like unrequited fans of upper limit Dan with unreturned fan letters from mid to low tier Dan from Dan Coin, motherfucker.